What is going on, guys, and welcome to episode 35 of the Thoughtful Banter podcast. I'm your host, Matty, and I have here with my co-host...
You're supposed to say my name.
Hussein.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for watching this episode. This episode is sponsored by our Patreon page. If you go to patreon.com /Thoughtful Banter, you'll be greeted with our page. Now, over there, you guys go just check it out if you want to support the show. You get exclusive content. And by exclusive content, I mean you get content early on, and you are in the front row seat for recommending what you want us to talk about or any questions you want to ask us.
Oh, so we doing that now?
Yes,
Okay,
that's an announcement. I made that announcement on the Patreon,
Mhm.
and I made an update on our Instagram.
So we should probably do we can talk about details later. Whatever. Anyways, like Matthew said, thank you so much to our patrons who have sponsored this podcast and the lifeblood behind this podcast. And I'd like to shout out Zero, Reza, Deadman, Asad, Ali, Ahmed, Latifa, Ali, T-Jam, Justin, Muhammad, and Jordan.
Bro, we got so many patrons, bro. Like, inshallah, next year we won't even have time to read them out. We just have to have their names on the screen.
Yeah, on the screen.
You know what I'm saying? MashaAllah.
In outro or whatever, we just have the names just continuously going.
And I posted, speaking of us like podcasting, I posted that clip on our page where that guy was talking about podcast statistics. So just in case you guys aren't aware of this, apparently if you've uploaded more than 20 podcast episodes before, like your podcast, then you are ahead of 90% of all podcasts worldwide.
So I want to shout out one of our patrons, Reza, who actually told me that before Mahdi even posted that video on his on our Instagram. And it's interesting, like Alex Hormozy is very recently come into like the frame of social media because he started doing it. And he's like known as like the business guy. He's worth $100 million or whatever. But so I just thought it was really cool that, you know, even before I knew who Alex Hormozy was, several months ago, Reza Bala, you gave me that millionaire advice.
Reza B, inshallah, we'll have Reza on the podcast.
I said his whole name.
You want to say that?
Huh?
I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, yeah. Okay. Anyways.
But yeah. So we haven't uploaded since Ramadan.
Yeah.
We thought we would.
That Ramadan got us.
Ramadan kicked my butt.
Yeah.
To be
so
honest.
You know how we were talking about in that Ramadan episode how difficult it is to be a working grown adult while fasting, and kind of like the transition for us coming from homeschooled where basically Ramadan was another holiday and
30-day holiday.
We stayed up all night and we slept all day, and then we enjoyed it, you know, and it was very fun. Not to say that we don't enjoy it now, but it's, you know, coming from that to this is very different, and no one prepared me.
It's harder to enjoy it, bro.
It's harder to
like
enjoy
with work and like when we were homeschooled during Ramadan, bro, like I feel like my schoolwork was on pause. Everything was on pause. Like my parents just wanted our parents wanted us to like just prioritize the spirituality during Ramadan.
Yeah, being in the community, being in the
so
masjid.
the schedule was like go to the masjid, but before going to the masjid, I feel like I was just asleep in the afternoon, or I was just playing video games.
Or we did like camps and stuff too. Like there were camps during Ramadan. And even though we were fasting, of course, but it was like, you know, fasting is easy. Like that's the easiest part of Ramadan.
Fasting is easy, especially when you're just with a bunch of Muslims.
Exactly.
But when you're fasting like at work and people are constantly like forgetting that you're fasting and like offering you food and asking you questions, and you just have like all these like dunya triggers that like, you know, because when you're around other Muslims, everyone else, like if you're with your friends, for example, most likely they're all trying to not curse, at least during Ramadan.
At least during
Ramadan.
You know,
no one's playing music or anything. And you're at work, you know, those things don't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, so, I mean, that's the interesting thing about Ramadan, though. It kind of does show where you're lacking, like where your holes are, like where the chinks of your armor are. And I think that's why as an adult, Ramadan isn't as much vibes as it is, because it's not that Ramadan isn't good, it's because it's just exposing all your weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But on the flip side, because it's so much more of a struggle, like your reward potentially is also greater as well.
Yeah.
So like if you're practicing at the same, actually probably is going to be greater just because with age, but like a good level than your previous self when you had all the time in the world, you know, like that's something to be proud about. Yeah. Even though, you know, sometimes it feels hard to, because you're like, this is the month of like the ummah, you know, this is the month of mercy, and I feel like I missed this opportunity, that opportunity. But honestly, any little thing you've done in Ramadan that's been good, the reward is great.
Thanks for the reminder, because honestly, I felt like my Ramadan, I felt like I wasted it. Just I didn't feel like that spiritual like-ness
that's true.
that I'm used to feeling before.
And that's why I wanted to like specify that the struggle part is still the spirituality. You're still being,
not the feeling of being spiritual
like,
necessarily.
Again, we always mention the like, if you have PTSD,
yeah,
you know, but you did something that was right. That's good.
I mean, we might have new viewers if you're new to the podcast, or maybe just don't remember Hussein saying this. Hussein oftentimes quotes like one of our community leaders who mentions like spirituality isn't based on feeling like you want to do your salat, or feeling like you want to do this salat al-layl, or you want to make this extra dua. It's just doing your responsibilities, despite however you feel.
And then also in that, to make a gym reference like Mahdi.
I was being you was being me.
To make a gym reference like Mahdi. When you go to most people, when they go to the gym, don't like the feeling of lifting weights.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you're me.
Don't like the feeling of running.
Yeah.
You know, your muscles burn, your heart beating hard. You know, the next day you're sore. You can barely move sometimes. But in that struggle, you find solace, and then eventually you find yourself wanting to do those things. You're like, you want to feel the burn. Now you want to go to the gym. But the first time you went to the gym and you did like, remember we walked through like my stepfather's bicep routine.
Yeah.
And we literally couldn't bend our arms after we came back. They were like,
I was like this for like a week, bro. I was like holding things just like my arms were stuck in place. That was terrible.
And it sucked. But we kept going back.
I swear my arms were bigger since then.
We kept going back.
After that workout.
And we kept going back and we kept doing it. And so, honestly, most things with spirituality and about your faith, if you put in terms of the gym, make complete sense.
Bro, I've been trying to tell you, bro, since like 4 years ago, I think, or 3 years ago, the gym is like the ultimate Islamic, is the ultimate translation from like almost any Islamic concept to like the dunya, like to us, for us understanding it. It's like it's a transitional metaphor for the most part.
And even if you're not like religious at all, just for life, you know, it's the same thing for life.
Yeah.
When it's hard, you're probably doing the right thing.
Well, some Alex. You sound like Hussein Hormozi. That's facts. What do they say? I like this. This is, you're not gonna like this, but I love it. It's like a super corny, like motivational quote. You know, play with like Sigma type beat in the background on Instagram, but it said like, life is like a video game. When you run into enemies, you're going the right direction. You know, it's like you play an open world game and like.
Why would I not like that? That makes sense.
Oh, okay. Well, just because like the Sigma music behind it, I hear like dum 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 dum. You know, so it's like
but yeah, if you're like playing as Kratos or something,
any kind of open world game where they're not showing you exactly what to do next. You're just looking for.
You're just running around. You're just running around, and you're like, I don't see anyone. I don't know what's happening.
Not the right way.
Exactly.
And life is like that. Like I feel like this is so funny. It's interesting how natural this conversation progressed into this, because this is what I've been feeling lately, into like what I'm about to go into. But it's like, and I just made a video about this on one of my personal channels called Kagemaku.
Follow bangers.
Thank you, bro. You're too nice. I feel like I haven't been on my personal development grind and / journey the way I should be over the last, I want to say probably 3 months. I think I was just like, well, I don't know how much I want to say about myself. I moved into a new job, and at that time I just let my previous job really consume me, because I was just trying so hard to get out of that role, and I compromised like my health, and I think in that some of my spirituality. So I just look at like the last 3 months, and like my sleep has been dreadful. My overall gym performance has just been like pretty subpar, if not terrible. Especially like Ramadan, I give myself a pass because I told myself I was going to like not prioritize the gym. But like I just want to.
It's not necessarily a time to prioritize that anyways.
Yeah. So what's funny is
But
during.
I think maybe the issue that you ran into, and I probably ran into the same thing, is that sometimes the gym served as like a dual purpose. One, that it was, a workout and we enjoy working out. And then two, it was a time where during your workout, there was also a lot of reflection, at least for me.
Facts. Again, we get our clearest thoughts like mid-set.
So like my clearest thoughts come 2 times. And I was talking to my family about this yesterday too. In the gym, usually when I'm like not working out with someone, like I'm by myself, and right before I fall asleep, sometimes like the craziest things will come to me. Like I'll be like, oh, I really want to write something, but I don't have an idea for a topic in mind. And then I'll be like, right between sleep, and a banger topic will come to my mind, and I'll wake up and forget it. But anyway, going back to the original point, I think some of that struggle was because the gym served as that dual purpose, and you had to find that reflection time, that time for reflection outside of the gym. And I didn't realize that was what it was until Ramadan ended.
Until you lost it.
Yeah. Until Ramadan ended.
I'm happy to get back into the gym though. I had my first day. During Ramadan, I went to the gym twice. So the first, I basically went once a week the first 2 weeks, and then the last, like after those 2 weeks, I didn't go to the gym. I got so weak, but I went in today and I was like, and this is a problem. This is why this episode is about to be so fire. This is the relationship one of the relationships between fitness and spirituality. It's whenever you are that guy and you build up.
You're not that guy, pal. No, I'm joking.
Whenever you're that guy, not yet. Whenever you feel like you're that guy and you're going to the gym consistently and you self-identify, your identity is, I go to the gym, and you break a couple PRs and you're going consistently. And then you stop, and then you come back into the gym, and you can't lift the same weight at the same intensity as before. Your ego is hurt, and a lot of people stop going to the gym after that simply because they cannot humble themselves before their current self, before the weights. Like, I know guys who aren't working out the same way they used to because maybe they had an injury. Oh, I was benching 350. Oh, I was squatting 500 pounds, whatever it may be.
You're funny.
They come back to the gym and they're weak.
Yeah.
And the bar hurts, for example, or just their mobility is so bad they can't hit that same range of motion. And that's the same thing with spirituality. Like sometimes, bro, we fight getting closer to Allah because maybe at some point in your life, you're that guy, you're making your salat on time, and you wanted to do salat al-layl, and you were doing it, you're doing it extra fast, and now you're at that point where you just can't wake up for Fajr. You know what I'm saying? Or you're just squeezing in Dhuhr Nasr right before Maghrib, or maybe you're doing Dhuhr Nasr right after Isha, to be honest, and you just can't bear to you just can't humble yourself.
Yeah, and I think what's beautiful about the spirituality aspect is that, kind of unlike the gym, if you're not in the gym and you're struggling to get the motivation to get to the gym, so maybe one day you put your shoes on to go to the gym and you get dressed and ready, but you never end up getting there, right? You don't get the rewards of going to the gym for that. But with spirituality, I'm not saying if you pray your salat on time versus not praying your salat on time, you're getting the same rewards, but there is benefit in you doing that. You're still attaining something. You're still moving closer and struggling that way. Interesting. That's
facts, and actually, that's a really great point. Matthew Rastani has a great class on salat and how to improve your salat. And I had did you attend it?
No, I wasn't there.
I had the pleasure of attending one day of the class, and in the class he mentioned actually just like how a lot of people are trying to go, just how we're talking about the gym, go from benching 400 pounds to not being able to bench it, jumping back into benching 400 pounds. A lot of people with their salat, they're trying to go from the point of loving salat when they're not even praying on time, or they're not making salat on time, but when they want to pray, they want to make a long salat, and make it as long and beautiful as possible. Where in the class, one piece of advice he was giving was basically, I'm not saying he said this verbatim, but basically he was like, bro, if you're not even praying, don't jump your salat by don't get back into salat just by making a long salat.
Yeah.
pray on time and make it done.
Uh-huh.
Stop trying to do this long salat. Make it easy
you're trying
for
to
yourself.
jump back to where you were. Also, I think circumstances change, and we're also resistant to change just naturally. And so again, like we were saying, when we were 17, 16, 18, even though we had jobs, there was fast food jobs or something, it wasn't a big deal because maybe you have a shift at 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. or something the next day.
You can just quit.
You can still afford to sleep in, or you can just quit. You don't really have expenses. And so you're comparing yourself man, I used to have the stamina to stay up all night in prayer, literally just prayer back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And it's you don't have a job.
Yeah. Or you have no responsibility. You have no responsibilities.
You had no job. You had no responsibilities. You didn't have anyone you were you had to be accountable to besides your parents. And if your parents were cool with it, I mean, your parents are you're at the match. What are your parents gonna say? Complain? you know. But if you have to provide for someone, and in order to provide for someone, you have to go to work, and in order for you to get to work on time, you have to go to sleep at a specific time. You not staying up all night is not the same thing. It's not necessary. That's not necessarily a signifier that you're lacking that same spirituality.
Yeah. That's facts.
Yeah. And that's also not to say that there aren't moments where maybe you should sacrifice your sleep, but it's not the same thing, and it's not going to be the same thing all the time. Also, it's never going to be the same as when you were 16.
Facts. And I think also, again, going back to ego, this is also something we've been talking about lately. I think the ego for us is a problem. I think especially as men, I mean, I feel I'm not saying women don't suffer from this, but from my observations, I feel ego, especially for men, I don't know if it's maybe because Allah just cursed us with testosterone and it comes with its own specific challenges, but I feel I just see ego as a huge hurdle for a lot of us, 'cause it's just something that's just it just seems it's.
Bro, you said testosterone was a curse, bro. You're anti-man.
I never said it was a curse.
You literally did, but I know what
the curse. Saying. It can be a curse. I mean, everything is.
No, I know what you're saying.
I did say that. You're right, and I realized it. But it's
I was just being facetious.
It's just there.
Yeah,
you just have this testosterone. It's
no, it can be depending on how you utilize it. What you mean is depending on how you utilize it, it can be a blessing or a curse.
Yeah, and it's just there, and with that testosterone, it just seems your ego is just always there, even if it's not. You're not listening to it. It's just a shadow, and I think a lot of guys are in positions in life where they're not right about something. They're not doing something well. They have no idea what they're talking about, but they're just still listening to their ego. But their ego isn't backed up by any substantial evidence or fact. You know what I'm saying? And we mentioned Alex Hormozy. Yeah. One thing Alex Hormozy says is all that all that affirmation talk that people talk, all people recommend. Oh, say affirmations. Look in the mirror. Say affirmations. He's it's all BS. What you should do is build up facts. Build up your own resume and prove to yourself what you can do, and then you'll be confident. Mm-hmm. You don't just build up your ego and say I'm the best ever. I'm the best in the world. If we're talking about Thoughtful Banter, we're gonna be the best podcast ever when we haven't made one episode. It's make an episode, and then you will build up that. It's build up a factual ego.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with Alex when he says stuff like that, but I understand what you're saying, and it makes sense.
Small.
I just had to throw that in there, I'm not a complete Alex Hormozy lover.
Yeah, we have complicated opinions.
Yeah. I mean, just to add on to that point before, I don't want to segue the conversation completely, but I think certain times there is a benefit in fake it till you make it, and that's essentially what an affirmation is, right?
Affirmation, I think so. I think it can be a lot of times. I think they usually are used as to fake it till you make it.
And also, at least as far as for me, whenever I don't think I've ever sat in the mirror and been you're smart or you're intelligent, you're strong. I've never done that. But sometimes where affirmations I think are successful is when you have a skill and you downplay that skill. I've done that. That works.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
That's effective.
And so what the affirmation does is it brings the actual reality to the surface. And so it's not like there's no reality to back up your ego, as in the way that Alex frames it. It's more like you actually, or at least when it's as successful and effective, it's, no, I do have these skills. I just need to acknowledge them.
Yeah, I think for me, I've tried the mirror stuff when I was younger, like just watching motivational videos for the first time, like look up how to improve my life. And the video's like, I want you to look at me and I want you to say, I'm the best. And I tried that for a bit. And that was like, I feel this is very stupid because I'm not the best. You can't convince yourself.
And I think what Alex would respond to me is he'd say, well, just do the right work and that will reveal itself to you instead of doing an affirmation.
I think that's what he was. I agree with you.
But what I would respond to that is, if me not being able to affirm my skills prevents me from doing good work, what do I do then? And that's where something like,
I think what you would say, I would respond, and sorry to cut you off, but I think what he might say to that is, well, you don't lie to you're too intelligent to lie to yourself. Like you can't lie to yourself unless like you're really crazy. What you would say is, you don't have to tell yourself I'm good at this thing. You can say I can do it. Like I can try to do it. Like you can still gas yourself up and still tell the truth. But I think it's just important not to lie to your ego. Like I'm the best ever. You don't need to think I'm the best to start a podcast.
I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying, and I
because a lot of the affirmation advice is I'm the best ever.
I mean, I think that's like gurus on the internet. I think that's gurus on the internet.
Dude, that's millions of people right there. Gurus on the internet. People listen to like a lot of people listen.
I'm saying, if you actually look at like how affirmations psychologically, like, and how psychologists recommend people doing this, it's not sitting there in the mirror and saying, I'm the strongest man ever, I'm going to lift 500 pounds. Like, no, it's, I have the capability. Because you don't think you have the capability, but in reality, you actually do have the capability, and it's kind of uncovering that capability. And so if my belief about my capabilities is preventing me from doing something to the best of my ability, then I have to change my belief. I can't change the reality because the reality sucks.
That makes sense.
You know?
I would agree with that.
So that's where I don't always agree with how he frames these kind of things. But yeah, I think there is also wisdom in what he says as well.
Fact.
Even on that point, even though I don't agree with completely how he frames it. And it's just like, honestly, maybe it's just a thing that if I had this conversation with him, he'd be like, yeah, you're right. It's just a 30-second, YouTube video. I'm not going to give all the complexities and nuance.
Probably. He's a smart guy. I don't mind segueing because I think this is this is organic. Mm-hmm. What is interesting to think about is there are people, like, think about someone who's like detrimentally unconfident. Like they have no ego. Mm-hmm. It's almost like they have an anti-ego. It's like they have a version of themselves crapping on them constantly. Like the person who just has like just the most negative self-talk. Like they can't, like, it's like they're crushed by their own anxiety and like they have almost no will to live. It's like anything they overthink. Hey bro, you want to hang out over the weekend? And they have nothing planned on doing anything. Like, oh, I don't know if I can make that. Like, like they, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder what you do with that kind of person. Because maybe that person needs some like stupid kind of self-affirmations. Like maybe that person needs to hear, I'm the best person in the whole wide world, just because they're so much on one end. It just balances them out. Versus some people you see who aren't successful, but they have massive egos. They need the reality checks. Like, hey, bro, you're being dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. You're stupid. Who do you think you are, bro? Keep it simple. Yeah. Stop thinking you're hot stuff. You're not hot stuff, bro. Just figure out ABC. Figure out the basics.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting how different people need very different things. Yeah. And that's the problem with like a lot of like internet, YouTube coaching and whatnot. It's because even if someone's like, look at Alex Hormozy, right? Someone who gives like, I would say, very excellent advice. Even if like information online, you're supposed to apply to yourself. But if you're completely delusional, you're going to hear what Alex says and you might think it relates or it doesn't relate to you when it might relate or might not relate to you. Mm-hmm. Like he might be like,
or you might think it relates to you and it absolutely does not relate to you.
So for example, he might make a video like, to 1% of guys out there who just want to work. 16 hours a day, and are okay with no vacation, and are okay with no fun,
no family time. Yeah.
Do this.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be watching there, and the guy might watch it, be like, "That's me, bro. I got a lot. I am a dog, bro. All I do, I hunt. I am an animal." Like, you think you're Conor McGregor, but like,
he said, "I hunt."
We might view that guy and see him watching that reel on his phone. I'm like, bro, the screen time on your phone has been 18 hours today. All you do is play 2K and look at your phone.
Yeah.
That's not you. Stop thinking you're that guy. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. This is funny how, like, I guess that's why, like, in-person mentorship is so important, because an in-person mentor should check that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
You know, when you hear someone say something that sounds totally delusional based on your personal experience with them, you let them know, like, hey, buddy, I don't think that's you.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I'm not saying that can never be you. That's just not you right now.
Yeah. And this is it might not. And this is the thing with, like, the internet in general. And this is not like something that can be helped, right? You can be one of the most nuanced, thoughtful people on the internet, and you can talk about things and how they relate to you. And for people in your position, that's really good advice. But it's like, you see, again, dude, 16 hours of screen time on his phone every day, looking at that and saying, "Oh yeah, that's me too." And that's where it's like, okay, no, you actually need someone on the ground next to you who can tell you, "Hey, bro, that's not you.
That's not you at all.
That's not you at all." So yeah, the mentors, humongous thing, and I feel like we've kind of
we were talking about that this week
as
too.
a society. What do you think? As a society, do you think that we have kind of lost the like tradition of having a mentor? And if you go back in the day, where families were more like, where society was more family oriented and community oriented, if people had kids, they knew their neighbors who also had kids relatively the same age, who knew their neighbors that also had kids that relatively the same age, who knew their neighbors, and you had this like interconnected network of people that could help you with specific things. And so your dad can't teach you everything, right? But hey, I know this other dad who's a really good friend of mine. You should listen to him for this. You should go to him about this. And so it was more like everyone had a mentor, not because everyone was like online saying, "I need a mentor," but everyone had a mentor because it was just a natural thing.
I don't know. I think I hear that rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's truth to it, and I also just think there's not truth to it.
In what sense?
I'm trying to phrase it in a good way. I'm thinking, like, on one hand, people, there's just this idea that things back in the day were better.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a logical fallacy I think people have.
Yeah.
Because the best of the things back in the day that were around rise up to the surface, and people just
see that,
fantasize.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
olden days.
That's true.
Like, you hear dudes say, "Bro, back in the day, we used to hunt for our food. We had high testosterone levels."
I mean, I don't
like,
know who's...
They were dying of infection, bro. Like, shut up. Like,
I mean,
you
I don't know
what I'm
who's saying that, but
like Joe Rogan fans.
I know what you're saying.
Dudes like me, like,
we romanticize the past.
The past.
Sometimes we romanticize the past.
So a lot of things are great.
Mm.
I would overall, like, agree with that sentiment. I think it was just accidental. I think it's just a byproduct of, I think, probably back in the day, it's probably fair to say that we were just a little bit more family oriented and a little bit more tribal in our general structure of our society, also, in our social circles.
That also comes with negatives as well. It's not like there's like,
I was about to say,
it's not like there's like all positivity, you know?
Yeah. So I think because we are more family oriented and more just tribal and more traditional, what happens is there is more of a social structure embedded there where you have to interact with certain people, and because of a set hierarchy in place, there's going to be set mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you living with your uncles.
Yeah.
Okay, you're all, if you're like in a group of guys, basically what always happens is the older guys tell the guy younger than them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how family structures are. If you have big brothers, you listen to your big brothers. If you don't listen, they're going to beat you up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you want your big brother's approval. So this is happening naturally.
And I guess because I think maybe then the issue is, or an issue is, maybe it's not the issue, but maybe an issue is that because we're in the information age, information is being replaced, is thought of as a mentor when it's not, maybe.
Yeah, information is not
information itself.
Yeah, information itself is not a mentorship.
No.
Information itself can be a self-guide. I got a lot of benefit from like online mentorship to an extent, but I think when I was younger, I was looking to fill a void, and I don't think that void could ever get filled just by listening to guys online acting like they're your big brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you need
but
someone.
I'm not even just talking about like gurus. I'm even talking about articles or
like all
blog
areas.
posts. Yeah.
Because, and again, it all comes down to like having a person there who has like, I heard someone say that all information is old because like the time it takes to make information and like for it to disseminate and go out,
there's already new information.
Yeah. So like if you're talking to a guy in a field, actively in a field, versus you reading an article, you're going to get two different world perspectives. Like an article might be like, oh, this new technology is really, for example, is going to change medicine and yada, 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 yada. And you're going to talk to one doctor. He's like, yeah, bro, we don't use that in our hospital. I'm going to tell you what, these three things matter.
Yeah.
If you want to be a good doctor, like I'm giving advice to someone, these three things matter. I don't know what that article's about. We don't use that. So, you know what I'm saying? Like we just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very different when someone's like on the ground and they're really doing something because they have like hands-on experience, and it just beats technology.
And tying that into, we talked about Madafa and we did like a little recap of Madafa in 2 episodes ago, but tying that into Madafa, I think the whole like careers, like going back to that, our critique of the career thing that they did, that was a big part of it. And because you don't have the actual older person, 30-year-old, mid-30s, 40-year-old to tell you, yeah, that's the cutting edge research maybe. But either it's old, or it's not even though it's new, it's still not applicable. So who cares?
It's like this wisdom that people who've been doing something for a long time have, where they see something that like everyone's saying, oh, this is going to change it all, and they're like, no, it's not. This is going to a little bit change the game. For example, like I can't think of a precise example. Maybe like something comes to mind is like people were talking about Google Stadia being like the next level of gaming. You know what I'm saying? And like the people who are like in the industry for a long time who understand how like what gamers want, they're like, Google Stadia isn't going to take anything. It's not going to take the PlayStation, Xbox experience.
Yeah.
No. You're not going to rent games.
You said Google Stadia. I didn't even know what that was. So
you remember that?
No.
Even now that I mentioned it, it's like this little, it was a cool idea. It's like a little controller that you plug into your TV, and like the idea is that you're renting and streaming video games like on Netflix. It's a cool concept, but just no.
Yeah.
Like the latency is just too much, and like all the like the market share is just taken up by Xbox and PlayStation and PC gaming.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and even if it is genuinely better technology, like I said at the beginning of this episode, we're resistant to change.
Yeah, people want what they're already using. Unless it's easier, I'm not going to do it.
Exactly.
So
it might even be that the technology actually is better, and it's actually a better idea and actually a better concept, but it may take 20 years for everyone else to finally be like,
Dude, that's what Android users don't get. Android users are always like, hey, bro, my phone here, bro. Bro, what's the CPU on your iPhone, bro?
Now we're talking about Apple supremacy. So
no, it's like they'd be like, what's the CPU on your iPhone? I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like they always Android users be like the most tech nerdy dude. I'm like, bro. First of all, it gave me a headache hearing you talk about this. Second of all, I'm like, I don't care. You know why, bro? Because guess what? When you text me as green, You've lost me. You've lost me because your text bubble is green. You're sending me a picture. It looks like it's taken out of a potato. Oh, that's iPhone doing that. I don't care. That's how it came out. It's what I experienced. Yeah. It's what I experienced. Okay, but guess what? You can airdrop me a photo right now, crystal clear. Try FaceTiming. It looked broke. Oh, our cameras are nicer. I don't care if your camera's nicer because when you send me that picture, it looked god awful. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, iPhone has like this synchronistic like world, when you have an iPhone device, all iPhone devices are talking, and they make the communication between all of them so simple and smooth, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we got here, but you know, that's.
I mean, it illustrates the point that I was saying.
Yeah.
We're resistant to change.
Yeah,
so
we're resistant to change.
So yeah, that was funny.
That was funny.
Apple supremacy, iPhone supremacy.
Apple supremacy, dude. Like, think about the AirPods, bro. Like, AirPods sound quality, we know it's not good.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, even
bro, I be speaking on the phone with people through my AirPods, and they're like, "I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I can't hear you."
Yeah, every time I talk to someone and they're on AirPods, it sounds like they're driving and like they're in a convertible. Mm-hmm. But I tell you something, before AirPods, I couldn't think of a single Bluetooth device where if I open up an AirPod or an earphone and I put it in my ear, it would seamlessly connect. And I would know when it would connect, and I'll hear a pleasant ding. I'll put the AirPod in. That, right? The seamlessness, that like it knows it's in my ear. Because it's goofy. Before then, it's goofy. When I have like Bluetooth headphones, I forgot to turn them off. I'm on my phone. My headphones are on my neck, and I'm on my phone. I'm like, why isn't my audio not working? Oh, God, it's synced in my headphones. I have to turn off. I have to unsync. Broke.
Yeah, syncing.
Broke.
Unsyncing.
Yeah, it's terrible. You know. It's funny how like speed and like convenience for what we want is, we look at it as more important than like the quality of the thing itself. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, it's important to remember that when it comes to like taking a full circle to like our communities, right? Like we look at like how to bring in the youth. It's like we have a lot of good information. You know, we have a lot of scholars who are spitting, but it's got to be streamlined in an effective way that's pleasant.
Yeah.
You know, like we have all these scholars who are like good at Hausa, or like they're so smart and they have so much information, but we got to find more way. I'm not saying get rid of lectures, but we have to find more ways of instilling knowledge to our youth besides having them sit down and lecture. You know, I was hearing, I was eavesdropping in a conversation having with one great brother in the community who was talking about having a camp for Muharram, and he was talking about like having sports and stuff. And I was like, dude, that's such a good idea, because like so many young men, for example, like they want to be religious, but like, and similar to me, they don't find, it's not fun for them to like sit down and like open an Islamic book to learn about Islam, you know, but like they just need to absorb Islam by being in the environment around other Muslims and absorb it in that kind of way. But they really like sports. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have to put Islam into all these things we enjoy to make it for everyone. Yeah. Because most people aren't going to sit down in front of a sheikh or open up a lecture online and really learn that way. It's got to be like, Islam's got to be in everything. It's got to be in our phones, bro. Like we have to have like social media content. We have to have movies and TV shows. We have to have music. Like, I know music technically, if it's Islamic and good, it's technically not music.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yes.
But
Sharia compliant music.
Bops. How about that? Sharia compliant bops. Because I can't technically use the word music. But like, you know, it's like there's something for everybody.
Yeah. I guess this is not devil's advocate necessarily, because I agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of what holds us back as a community is that we haven't expanded our like horizons enough to embrace like the possibilities of what could be, and we automatically view and think of some things as just not religious or not spiritual, even though they have the potential to be. Maybe inherently they're not, but they have the potential to be. But you know, just adding another point, maybe perhaps a concern is, let me say this, I do think there's benefit in sometimes just sitting your butt down and again doing something you don't like.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And so for me, I'm not saying don't do those things, but I think the line has to be drawn carefully so that it's not that we only have certain people consuming and learning their Islam through media. And as a result, because it's so easily accessible, whatnot, they completely ignore maybe more traditional modes of learning that still have benefit in them that can't be provided by media, you know.
Can I give a fitness example?
Yes.
I felt like Kevin Gates. Can I get explicit? Can I give a fitness example? So like, let's say let's say the traditional way is the best way, just for the sake of this example, right?
That's not.
I know that's not what you're saying.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear. That's not what I'm arguing necessarily. But I do think in each thing you miss out on another thing.
Yeah, I just want to, I guess, give more detail to what exactly I'm trying to say. So, like, let's say the best thing, and I think there's an argument that it is the best way. Let's say traditionally the way you learn is by going to the masjid, or seeking out specific Islamic knowledge. The way you seek out like a master's degree is going to read a book or going to speak to a learned person and learning
or going through that book with that person or something like that. Yeah.
The traditional way, let's say, is learning with someone and like picking up a book and digesting it, right? Let's say that's the traditional way. If that's fitness, that is training. Like that is, I'm going to like either my jiu-jitsu gym, I'm going to like the gym and I'm training. I'm taking out this hour of time, I'm running through this workout, I'm writing down my reps and sets, right? Most people don't go to the gym because most people, even if they can do that, they won't do that. Now, let's look at spirituality and compare. This is a long example. Let's, Bob, I'm already in too deep. Let's look at spirituality.
I think I like where it's going.
And compare that to like our obesity epidemic. Most people no one should be morbidly obese, right? It's unhealthy. In this country, we have an epidemic. We have an actually international, like low-key epidemic of it, right?
Yeah.
And let's say the epidemic of that spiritually is, your spiritually deficiency. Yeah. Right. Now,
like extreme spiritual deficiency.
What caused the obesity epidemic? No one knows, but a lot of different things. Let's say in this case of argument, one of the biggest reasons for that is because
I think I know where you're going.
Internationally or nationally, everyone's activity has overall decreased. Now, back in the day, no matter who you were,
back in the day,
back in the day, everyone's was generally more fit. Even the very fit guy had to walk over to his horse and he had to lift himself on the horse.
Like the very unfit guy.
Yeah, sorry. Even like the very rich guy who was unfit, who could be sitting down more than most people, had to walk over to a horse and ride a freaking horse. He had to walk around more, and like the person who had to be the most active was way more active than the most active person now, who's like, I go to the gym and I work out 3 hours a week and I walk a lot. Well, back in the day, it's like, bro, I'm walking 20,000 steps a day because I have to carry water. Like I have to go to a well to get water. Just think about like Muslims back.
You're not the same.
Yeah. Well, think of Muslims way back then. Just to make ghusl, they had to like run to a river and dunk themselves in. That's a lot of effort. Now you just take a shower and it's all nice. You get, I don't want cold water, I want warm water. And I think comparing that to like this long-winded metaphor, it's like, well, there's a lot of ways to get fit, and most people aren't going to take the traditional way. So it's whatever someone likes that makes them more active is good. I think training is the best thing for everyone to do. But if you like your little yoga classes, that's better than nothing. Yeah. If you like your jump roping 5 minutes a day, that's better than 0 minutes a day, etc.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's way too long of a metaphor. I apologize to you and the viewers.
You want to summarize it?
That metaphor?
Yeah.
I don't know how, bro. Can you summarize it?
Let me try. Okay. So I'll make something way simpler. If traditionally learning, let's say, is the gym, equivalent to the gym. I
would say something is better than nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Something is better than nothing. And most people won't do a lot. Because a lot is too much for most people.
So it's better that they do something rather than.
It's better they do something. Yeah, a lot's the ideal. And this applies to Salat. Oh yeah, Salat. But bro, just pray. Just pray. I don't care if the Dhuhr Nasr took you 8 minutes max to do in total. I get you're praying quick. But the guy looking at you, judging you for praying quickly, who hasn't made Salat yet, who's sitting on his butt, he's in no position to tell you that your Salat was too fast. Because he need to get up and pray. He make your wudu and pray. And then you can tell me how to make my Salat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then there is potential for the opposite, in which you're like, super duper developed in the gym, but deficient in everything else, which is also still a problem. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Absolutely.
Like if the gym is your life. Like
and you're not making money
like
from it, I think. That's a fair
and like
thing.
asceticism is not something that we like Muslims endorse, Islam endorses. We're not supposed to be monks out here. You know, so that's like, imagine that's like the other way, opposite extreme. It's like, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm refrain from this. I'm refrain from that. I'm going to stay in my house all day just because I want to pray and get close to God. And it's like, you're not living the way you're supposed to be living.
Great book, Marriage and Morals, like that Sayyid Muhammad Rizvi, he wrote. And he's compiled like a bunch of hadith. And it's about marriage and morals. And it's about like how sexuality should be in like an Islamic relationship, and he actually references like a bunch of hadith where like essentially like it's a bunch of hadith that are very similar situations where like companions
are being rebuked for like foregoing things that they don't need to.
Yeah, like a bunch of companions being like, I'm gonna refrain from sex. I'm gonna refrain from sex, and like
and not just like premarital haram sex, and like with my wife.
Yeah, they were married, and the Prophet was like, He was basically like, no.
Do you think you're better than me?
Yeah.
I do this. Do
you think you're better than me? I enjoy this. You think you're better than me? Yeah. Bro, I'm Rasulullah. Like, you're not better than the Prophet.
Yeah.
Relax, bro.
This is the greatest creation that's ever been created.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't do this. You have the audacity to tell me that this makes you more religious.
Imagine how goofy you look. Like, you're trying to make something that's halal haram for you, bro. The Prophet's looking at you like, bro, keep it simple. You're doing too much.
Keep it simple, stupid.
You're doing a lot. You're doing way too much.
And of course, as usual, we don't really come to an answer, but we just try to give you, a lot of different perspectives on the issue.
In other world news, I just thought it's like worth mentioning, just because it's really, it's going to impact the whole world.
Yeah,
all of us. So China had made a deal.
They brokered a deal. Yeah.
They made a deal with a bunch, like I think the biggest international oil exporters, and part of that deal, there's Russia, there's Brazil, and there's Iran, Saudi Arabia, and they brokered a peace treaty between Iran and Saudi Arabia. This is like the biggest news in Sunni and Shia unity, and like that I'm aware of ever existing. So apparently, I heard, I can't source this, but I heard that like in Medina, there's like the muftis are like Sunni Ayatollah, right?
Muftis are people who are like they have the credentials to write fatwas. Fatwa. So like mufti, fatwa, it's the same root.
Yeah. So I heard that like muftis are like announcing like, Ahl Shia, they're Muslim, they're not kafir, like they're not najas, like these are our brothers.
After the deal.
Yeah, bro.
Also, this past couple weeks ago, Iranian Quran reciter won a Quran reciting competition. All the judges were not Shia. They all knew this boy was Shia, and yet they couldn't deny.
I think it's interesting how powerful China is, number one, because these are two countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia. We're not allies. They're at war with they're like at a Cold War with one another, a proxy war with one another. And apparently, I don't know how accurate any of this is, because this is also new, but this is just what I'm reading online. Apparently, Saudi Arabia has also decided to stop the war in Yemen, which, alhamdulillah, that's great news, because the Yemenis people were just slowly Saudi was slowly killing them. Alhamdulillah, they stopped that. And honestly, personally, I don't care that China needed to get involved, because I look at the situation like it's good for the whole ummah. If Iran and Saudi Arabia get along, the way I look at it, it's good for the whole Muslim ummah. The whole deal that China has orchestrated with the biggest oil exporters has been to sell their oil to China in Chinese currency. And if you don't know, oil has been traded in USD. So I believe that means that our currency in America is about to drop in international value. Dudes, all the YouTube finance gurus are saying economic collapse is imminent.
Bro, get on. What do they call that? What is that when you're like a trader but Forex? You do it Forex?
Yeah, get on Forex. Yeah, I was thinking
get on your Forex horse, boys.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm stacking my bread. I don't know what's gonna happen. With the currency and all, but like. I don't know if like America's just gonna stand by and just let other countries do this. America might have to look at all these countries in the deal, be like, they all need some democracy right now. We need to come with the eagle and solve these issues. Yeah. But we'll see. Inshallah, it all ends up well.
Yeah, and that probably won't happen, just because you know what the issue is with waging war in other people's countries.
They always win.
It's like, if you have nothing to lose, like if you're like, either I live here or I die. Like if that's your mentality,
Vietnam, you don't beat those people.
You don't beat those people, bro.
You just make them suffer.
They
don't care.
They keep multiplying and multiplying.
Afghanistan, Vietnam, Iraq, like all these countries, these people just like, we're here. We're not leaving. And we don't care if we die.
Bro, if I'm in a street fight and I have something I'm trying to get from someone, right? A group of people, let's say, and I fight them each one by one. Even if individually 1-to-1, I'm like way stronger than these people. If this dude is like, I would rather die than give you this thing.
Yeah.
And he fights like that.
Yeah. Even
if I stop the first one, I stop the second one, I stop the third one, by the time the fourth one comes, I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm not sacrificing my life for this piece of information like that. Like, like this.
Because the way they're fighting is different.
Yeah.
Like if someone's fighting you and like they don't care if you break their arm, they don't care if you're stomping out their throat, they're biting you, they're clawing at you. Like literally, like
I will take a lump of flesh from you, no matter what.
I'm gonna get mine. Like they're gonna bite you. Like period. They don't care. Then that person's gonna win the fight.
Yeah, bro.
That reminds me of that Israel Adesanya clip where he's like, "I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die for this." Like that's a cold clip.
It is. Izzy's cringe, but yes, it is.
Izzy's cringe, but Izzy also kind of cold.
Izzy's definitely cringe, but he has his moments.
He definitely has moments. Congrats to Izzy for his recent fight. The recent win.
Bro, Poetan Muslim, bro.
What?
No,
Is he Muslim?
I just made that up.
Just lie like that.
I just made that up.
Whew. I want to keep going, but it's been a long episode.
It's been a minute.
But thank you guys so much for watching or listening to this episode of Thoughtful Banter. The best thing for you to do to help this podcast, if you enjoyed it, is to please share it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. We are at the top 90% of all podcasts of all time. So if you want to help this podcast become a great success for us, then please share it with one person who you think would enjoy it. Please like this episode. If you're listening to this on Apple Music, then give it a rating. Give it a 5 stars or give it a 4 stars or give it a 1 star. If you thought it was 1 star, just rate it. If you are on Spotify, do the same. Google Podcasts, do the same. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on all the other platforms I just previously mentioned, then follow. And if you are not following us on Instagram, then go to Thoughtful Banter on Instagram and follow us for updates, for clips, for keeping in touch with us to see what's new and what's popping.
So hold on. I just wanna add. Alex Pereira. I just looked online. There's actually a video of him taking a shahada.
Mashallah.
But yeah, that's all I'll say.
I have to add something.
That's all I'll say.
I don't know who's Muslim nowadays. I feel like everyone is. I feel like Islam was a new religion everyone converting to. And I had a coworker talking to me, and he was like, "A Lil Durk Muslim?" And I was like, "What?" And he was showing me this Lil Durk video, and he was talking like hood, like trap prayer or hood prayer or something. And I was like, brother, to be honest with you, I don't know who's Muslim. Like I don't keep up with this stuff. Everyone Muslim nowadays. I don't care. I don't like this Muslim trend of Muslims online caring when another person is Muslim. Not because you should hate other people, but because, bro, the point of Islam isn't more validated because a celebrity converts.
Yeah.
Like Muslims get whoa, like I mean, okay, I was about to say if LeBron James became Muslim, you should be excited. I'll be excited LeBron James became Muslim, but maybe we shouldn't be so excited. Like it doesn't validate the religion. If one person was Muslim on earth, that wouldn't invalidate Islam. Because with that logic, Islam is inferior because the majority the majority religion is Christianity. So with that mindset, by default, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
For Muslims who are like, oh, bro, we got converts. Okay, there's still more Christians, bro. So I don't know what you're talking about. Just join the winning team with that mindset.
And then basically the reason, if you actually like look at like Pew Research Center statistics, people are leaving Islam just not like around the same rate. I think there's a slightly higher rate of people joining Islam.
That's right.
Another thing that adds to people joining Islam is also births. So if a Muslim has a child, that counts as like someone joining.
In third world countries, don't believe people in third world countries don't really believe in birth control like that. They're really prioritizing it.
So, yeah.
Which I know we got to wrap up. Which is another problem though, because we were talking with Sheikh Trent about it. It's like we don't be prioritizing like our education with the religion. We just be like, all right, we having Muslims and like you won't be raised Muslim, bro, and like just stick to this religion. We're not going to teach you nothing about, bro.
I mean that a lot of that happened and happens, not because of not wanting to necessarily, but because there's an information like there's just not enough information there.
Yeah.
So, but that's a bigger problem.
But
anyway, for the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Keep going, bro.
We appreciate you all. Shout out to the patrons one more time. We love you. Peace out from Thoughtful Banter. Aha.